what is going on? My name is Darren, and I want to welcome all our listeners to the Burnout Brighter podcast, a show that talks about mental health, video games, and social justice. And I am joined, as always, by my lovely co-host Destiny
Hey, hey, hey.
and Matt.
Hey, hey, hey.
Oh, you're
And
so lame.
this
Get your
this is what
phone.
when I
Hello, hello,
host.
hello. Hi, hi, hi. Yo, yo, yo.
I hate you. Moving on.
Moving on, we've got a very special guest by the name of Lou. You might know him as Mad Seedling. He is a
Hello.
fantastic music producer, creator, just all around amazing individual who I've known for quite some time. Lou, thank you so much for joining us today.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me. I'm very excited to be here.
Lou, you've been a big help behind the scenes as well, and Destiny's just loving whatever I'm putting
pause.
out.
It was such a long pause. I just wasn't
You have to
ready.
remember the Darren delay.
Yeah,
So
Darren. Yeah, sorry.
For our listeners
sorry.
for our listeners who may not know, we've brought it up a couple times. There is a real life phenomenon known as the Darren delay. And whenever Darren says something, there is like a 5-second delay because his internet is trash. So
because all of our brains shut down after Darren says something, and there's just a spinning circle for 5 seconds as we try and figure out what he just said to us.
the rainbow wheel spinning in my
Exactly.
brain and in my internet. But before we get off tangent, I want Lou start us off by just telling us a brief introduction, who you are, because I'm not doing a great job at the start of doing that.
It's all good. Thank you, Darren. Thank you for that introduction. Allow me to reintroduce myself. I'm Lou, aka Mad Seedling. I'm a music producer located here in Southern Ontario. I'm a big fan of video games, and that's about it.
Perfect. And that's
it was brief.
It's brief, not as long-winded as I tend to be. You did not make multiple pauses. Your grammar was perfect. I'm giving you an A+.
Teacher Darren coming out.
Yeah.
Thank you.
No need for the red pen.
No need for the red pen. No markings.
I'm confusing
no
him.
comments.
Just let him talk.
So, before we get into our main topic, Lou, which is you, and which is also why it's so great that you had such a brief introduction, I want to give you the opportunity, because we like to always bring it back to mental health when we can, and I want you to tell me a game that matters to you, something that helped you through a tough time, or just a game that had an extremely meaningful experience to yourself.
Yeah. So I was ready for this question. And the game for me is a no-brainer. The game is World of Warcraft. That is the game for me. I've been playing it for a very long time. It's been there whenever I've needed it. It's never turned me away.
Yeah.
And the people I've met on there have been fantastic. A lot of great friends from all over the globe, and what a game. Yeah. A lot to say about World of Warcraft for sure.
Well,
So did you start playing back in the day? Sorry. Were you like an OG WoW
it's okay,
player?
Matt.
Because
go
for
ahead.
me,
You go ahead.
I just wanted to ask a question about WoW.
That's fair.
That's a Darren
The Darren
delay.
delay's real. Darren delay's real.
Okay. Go ahead. Can you answer Matt's question? And then Darren will get to your question.
So I started playing WoW in 2006. That was when the vanilla version of the game was still out. And then most of my playtime, though, was in the first expansion pack and the second expansion pack, which is what we're currently playing through in WoW Classic. So naturally, when that was announced, that completely reignited my fervor for the game. I kind of lost interest a bit because there were so many changes made, and it's had a controversial history, of course, with the changes that they made. So when Classic, of course, was announced, super excited. I've been playing it since it came out. So yeah, short answer, yeah, I've been playing since OG vanilla. Yep.
Nice.
So that is really, really cool because WoW, as you could probably agree, is not a game that people normally associate with having like good person to person experiences. So for you to say that like you had this great community, like tell me a bit about that. What made that community element so good to you?
Sure. So um, the thing about okay, so WoW is unique in this sense. Is okay. Have you ever heard of the Seinfeld effect, where
No.
something like years after it's come out, let's say Seinfeld, for instance, is not as appreciated because everything that came after it was so derivative of it that it is now stale and bland, and people don't kind of sort of get it, right?
Mhm.
Or that its impact has waned because of what came after. And in many senses, World of Warcraft is like that as well. Think back to 2006, 2007. Social aspects in games weren't really there. I mean, Xbox Live was really the first big gateway to that with console players.
Mhm.
PC users, there were MMOs before World of Warcraft for sure, but World of Warcraft was a cultural phenomenon, way more than EverQuest, right? Because it was so accessible.
Right. Right.
So the fact that you were in this world with all these other people at the time, that was magic. It was pure magic. Um, and yeah, being a young kid, like 15, 16 years old, I wasn't very popular in high school. I spent my time playing World of Warcraft. And in many ways, I look back fondly because I'm thinking, these people I knew were out probably partying, and I'm writing applications to join guilds and working at spreadsheets and shit like that. And I'm like, you're thinking back now, like, oh yeah, that was good training. I learned some stuff during that time. So yeah, just joining guilds and the camaraderie of being with 25 other people and having a goal and completing that goal with in unison is just it's a beautiful when it works together nicely. It's a beautiful thing, but no doubt the community can be very toxic. And
Yeah.
lots of examples of guild leaders being abusive to their guild mates and stuff, tons of that, of course. um
Yeah.
but it's yeah, just that social aspect of WoW was just magic. And now every game has
Yeah.
that was the conclusion, was every game has those
Mhm.
aspects now. Even a mobile game, you're going to have a chat room, you're going to have guilds, right? It's taken for
Mhm.
granted now, where it was a really special thing. So yeah, that's my long answer.
That was a good
No, that's great.
That was
answer.
fantastic,
That
yeah.
was a really, really good answer. I
Yeah.
I
feel the
just
same
remember
way.
I
Dang,
used
Matt,
to
you
play
just cutting
RuneScape.
everybody off today.
Go ahead, Destiny.
No, Matt. No, you go. You go. Go ahead.
Yeah, I just remember always playing RuneScape because my parents would never be like, they were like, you're not allowed to have the subscription. We're not paying for a video game every month. What are you talking about? But like, even like, yeah, in those early days, even the RuneScape had that, a bit of that magical feeling. But I was always jealous of the kids being like, we're playing WoW. I was like, I wish I could be you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and to think that that sub fee hasn't changed much, really,
Mhm.
in almost 20 years is remarkable. Sorry, Darren, you were going to say?
No, I was just agreeing.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, yeah. I I'd never played EverQuest. RuneScape, I'm familiar with, of course. I've got friends that were into it. Um, but yeah, it hit me WoW hit me at the perfect time. 14 years old, and I moved to a new town. I didn't have any friends. Boom,
Mhm.
here it comes, right? It's like it just plowed through my life.
Yeah.
I played it so much that my stepdad actually he had to hide the modem because I would not stop playing. Yeah. Naturally, I would find the hiding spots and plug it in, and then unplug
Mhm.
it when he came home. Um, but anyway, sorry, Sal, if you're watching this, I apologize. But
Well, thanks
No,
so
that's
much
great. I
for
think.
that story. Yeah.
I'm so sorry that this is gonna happen all day today, and I do not know why. Um, I was just gonna say, I think WoW was like really big for a lot of people. Like you heard a lot of stories coming out where people were. I think that's when they really started talking about like game addiction and like
mm,
a negative way where people just could not step away. But it wasn't so much just the game. It was you were meeting people there, and it was a lot of people who were kind of introverted, didn't have a lot of friends, were able to like use this game and socialize with people who you already had a common interest, right? Because you were already playing the
Mhm.
game, and it is just I mean, like relationships started off from that. People
Yeah.
got married. Like that was the first time I ever heard of people getting married in a game. Like I was very confused. But like now people do it all they do it all the time. So
Yeah.
like you were saying, yeah, no, it's I think WoW was an incredible step in the right direction. We just had so many toxic people who were, because you're behind a screen, a lot of negative things come out that you probably wouldn't say face to face to somebody, but
It's so
um
true.
yeah.
The funny thing about, I was just thinking about that. The fact that you're behind a screen is both a blessing and a curse in a way, because like you were saying, you're much more likely to spout off some garbage if you know that you're about speaking from the behind protection of a screen, right? At the
Mhm.
same time, the people that I speak to, the people in my guild, for instance, I don't really know them in terms of real life, right? I don't know what they look like per se. I don't even really know their first names. I don't know their history. I don't know their ethnicity. I don't know anything about them. And that
Mhm.
none of that matters. We're all just communicating within the context of the game, and even outside of the context of the game. We talk about life as well, but it's a beautiful thing when sort of those boundaries that would sometimes maybe cause um, you know maybe like people to get political, or people, maybe, yeah, anyway, it just those things about us are, a philosopher might say, our facticity, the things about us that we can't change but that people will judge you about. Those
Mhm.
things are gone when you're behind a screen, right? When you're communicating on
Absolutely.
Discord. But at the same time, you can be a real turd at the same time. So
Well, speaking of, people spending immense amounts of time doing things, I would like to know what's been going on with you all. How are things been? And I'll start with Matt. Matt, what have you been up to?
Me? I have been busy playing Horizon Forbidden West. Shout out to PlayStation Canada for sending that over. Appreciate it very, very much. I can't stop playing it. It's grabbed me in a way that the original never did. I liked Zero Dawn, but was never really in love with it. But Forbidden West has done a bunch of things to make the traversal, the combat, and everything about it just much more fluid and much more fun. The game is still tough. I'm still getting my, butt absolutely handed to me by giant robot elephants and dinosaurs. But like figuring it out and figuring out, the right weapon for the right situation. And it's like you can even like tag parts of the enemies out and stuff to try and figure out like which part you're going after which first, because if you knock that part off, well, it's going to drop a weapon that you can use to just eviscerate the rest of this. The story is much more interesting in my opinion compared to the first game. Like the trailers did a fantastic job of not telling you what that game is actually about, and now that's all I'm going to say, because the story is actually genuinely interesting. The graphics are just incredible. It's beautiful. We'll have a full review on the channel once I get through it, but I'm having a fantastic time with it. I'm loving it. It really is that Uncharted 1 to Uncharted 2 leap that I was hoping it was going to be. Because like I said, Guerrilla did a good job with Zero Dawn, but it was their first time making like an open world, RPG. And with Forbidden West, they've knocked it out of the park. There are some bugs. There are some issues. There are some little technical things along the way. But there's nothing that's ever been game breaking for me personally. But the PSA that I will put out there is if you're considering to buy this game, regardless of if you're buying it on PS4 or on PS5, regardless of the system that you have and that you intend to play it on, buy it on PS4. It is $10 cheaper and includes a free upgrade to the PS5 version. Where if you try and buy the boxed PS5 version, it is $10 more for no reason.
So
So
stupid.
be aware if you're buying it, even for PS5, unless you want that like PS5 box that just says PS5 on it, buy it on PS4 and then just download the digital upgrade because it's free and you're nobody likes spending $10 if they don't have to. So just be aware of that, because that is a very weird decision that they've made with this game that I really can't figure out why otherwise just to make people spend more money because they don't know. So
That paper.
PSA.
That paper, it must be worth like, $10 in and of itself. That's an
Yeah, having
expensive
that
ink to
white
print on the
PS5
PS5
label.
box.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
That's
gotta
why I
have
don't
that white
like.
box.
Oh, yeah, honestly, like that's one of the reasons I was like so against this whole like $10 increase for the next generation, because like I mean, I know the price has stayed the same, but like it's expensive in other places too. It like the raise in price makes it like way more expensive everywhere, and I don't know if we're really getting an extra $10 experience. Like, I don't know.
But like,
That's
I'd
just me.
understand if the PS5 version specifically was $10 more, and if you bought the PS4 version, then you had to pay them the $10 to get access to the PS5 version, which is what they've been doing
Yeah,
with a lot of their stuff. Then I can at least understand the justification for it, right?
I think they
But
just
again,
wanted to
like
give out
if you
that free
get the
upgrade
PS4
or
one,
whatever.
well, people don't know, right? And that's the thing. Like there was a story going around, like in the UK, like 70% of Horizon sales were PS5 boxed copies, and that's exactly why they're doing it. They're going to make more money off of it because they know that they can. Don't agree with it, but just be aware that's a thing.
Destiny, what have you been up to?
Hmm. I have not been playing Forbidden West Horizon. I don't know if I will play it. I kind of want to get a PS5 because the people look so pretty in it, but I don't know if that's like a real reason to get a PS5. So, let's see, what have I been up to? I binged um the entire fourth season of Disenchantment because it was released
Was it
on
good?
Netflix. It's always good, right? Okay,
Yeah.
so like I thought they were going to wrap it up and like this was going to be the final season because they're about to work on Futurama. So I thought they were
Right.
maybe going to wrap in Disenchantment, but no, it's still left on a cliffhanger. So I'm kind of excited that they're still going to be making more episodes.
Mm-hmm.
I checked out Cuphead.
How was it?
And I'm so sad. I didn't really like it. Like I saw the first episode and I was like, okay, and then I saw the second episode. I really think the character voices are throwing me off. Like I don't know what it is, but they sound like grown men and they're not supposed to be grown men and I just don't like it.
They're
So
shorter
Look,
episodes,
man,
right?
what are we gonna
Like
do
they're like 10
today?
minutes or something.
yeah, they're like what a typical like segment of a cartoon would be, right? They're
Okay.
20 minutes because on Netflix they don't account for commercials,
Right.
but it
Mhm.
would fit in a 30-minute slot. Yeah, if it was
Okay.
on
Right,
like
right, right,
cable
right.
TV. So I watched it. The animation is great. I don't know. I just saw it and I was just like I started watching the second season and then I realized I had picked up my phone and was going through Instagram, which I know if I start doing that, that I'm not at all interested in the show. Like it's just
Yeah,
not
yeah.
grabbing me.
Mm-hmm.
So I did start watching another show, which is called Summer Camp Island, which is really, really cute. It kind of reminds me of like Adventure Time and like Steven Universe. Like if they combined it all and made it like kind of about witches on an island. I don't know if that makes sense. But it's a really cute show and I think you'd like it, Matt, if you like just sat down and like because I know you really like Steven Universe and I know like you liked Adventure Time. It's not as heavy as Adventure Time, but it kind of has that same kind of feel.
Art style is
Yeah,
super cute. I just
yeah,
looked it up.
it's super cute. It's funny and I love listen, I love that they're using actual kids to voice the characters. Like I
Oh, they
absolutely
are.
love that. Yeah,
That's
because it gives
cool.
it so much more of an authentic feel. And the voices are so cute. And they actually like without throwing it in your face, they have like LGBTQ plus like they bring that up, they bring up like mental health and things like that without it being like so in your face. It's very digestible. But if you've ever dealt with those things or you're like very aware of what's going on in society, you'll be able to pick up on that right away, like, oh, this is what this is referencing. um, and then I've been working on stuff for for the sorry, Black Voices in Gaming, like doing some drafts for that because they're supposed to be doing a showcase on the 28th.
Yes.
So if you guys are interested in seeing like some up and coming developers and specifically Black Voices in Gaming for the month of Black History Month for February, please go check that out.
Amazing.
And then just working on some stuff for our own podcast, like moving forward and like making lists and notes and like trying to get people who we want on in the future and just I've been busy but like good busy. So
Good.
that's what
You've
I've been up
been
to.
helping keep us afloat, and that's much
I'm
appreciated.
trying.
Lou,
Yeah.
what have you been up to?
Oh man. Okay. Well, working on music, of course. I'm trying to make a one beat every day,
Interesting.
and that's been going well. And just really as a, just grinding it out. Really, just trying to grind it out. And if I don't do it, if I don't pick up the computer and just start making something, I won't get those gems, right? So I just have to
Right.
suffer through the crap sometimes. That's
Absolutely.
love the process. That's how I the process of making music is intrinsically valuable because it makes me happy. So that's yeah, just working on tunes. Um, I've been really into GDQ on YouTube. Games
Oh
done
yeah,
Nice.
some
quick.
of the videos from the previous session.
Yeah, just everything really. Like even from years back. Huge fan of GDQ. I've been watching for a long time, but it's been a few years since I've really been into it like I am right now. Um, so yeah, just some of my favorites are the Nintendo. Excuse me, the Nintendo stuff. Super Mario, Legend of Zelda, Ocarina of Time. Man, people know that game forward and backwards and up and down,
Yeah.
and it's
Yeah.
unbelievable. So yeah, GDQ is fantastic. Um, in terms of music, I have a new album coming out. It's coming out early April. It's called Nightlight,
Yes.
and that should be. I'm really excited. It's coming out with Chill Moon Records. They signed the album, so I'm super stoked about that. Making
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah,
That's
thanks very
that's
much.
phenomenal.
Yeah,
We'll
Yeah.
have
I'm
all
very
that
excited.
information down
Yes, in the doobly doo down
below.
below, or whatever Philip DeFranco calls it, or whatever. um, Geez, what else? Yeah, GDQ and making YouTube videos. Making YouTube videos about music production
Yeah, I've been
and playing
seeing some
WoW.
of your
I'm
tip
rating.
videos.
Yeah. I love making those. I'm not keeping myself to a schedule, but I'm writing down ideas and pumping them out when I can. So that's fun. And then raiding on WoW. So I raid on Tuesday, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. I'm in a guild. We're called Stacked. And
Nice.
yeah, it's a lot of fun. We're raiding Black Temple and we're raiding Hyjal right now. So it's a lot of
So
fun.
you're still doing classic.
Still doing classic. Yeah, classic TBC, the Burning Crusade, which is the
Yeah.
first expansion pack. Yeah.
You don't feel like throwing your head
Nice.
against
Nice.
Torghast for years and years and years.
Yeah. It's I never experienced it. That was after I had stopped playing when that came out. But
Mhm.
yeah, no, classic is it for me. I wouldn't go back to retail personally. It's just not for me anymore.
Yeah.
I wanted to mention, because we mentioned Forbidden West. Um, a friend of mine, a friend of mine's sister, did the theme song for that game in the Into the Flood.
What?
Yeah,
That's wild.
yeah,
Oh my
yeah. Isn't that wild?
god.
Yeah, that's cool, right?
That's so
My
cool.
my friend's sister's named Ariana Lewis, and she submitted that, and it was selected. And yeah, she's a very talented musician.
Congrats to her.
And
Damn.
yeah, so just funny that
Yeah.
yeah,
Does she have a Twitter? Can we get
she's on
her?
Instagram.
Oh, because I love Instagram.
As do
Yeah,
I.
that's
Okay, I'm
awesome.
gonna find her. That's dope.
That's so cool.
I get so excited. Girl power. I get so
Yeah.
excited when I hear about females doing things in the game industry. Like I love it.
And that theme is beautiful. It is.
Yeah,
It
it's a
is
really good
gorgeous. The
theme.
music in that game is fantastic.
Yeah.
So she crushed it. That's amazing.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I was
Quick
gonna say
GDQ
something. I was gonna
question.
ask a question.
Oh,
Yeah.
No, you ask your question
okay.
first.
Okay.
No.
So
My question can come later. Sorry.
GDQ question. Were there any, because one of the best parts about, and for those who don't know what GDQ means, it's Games Done Quick, the charity speedrunning event that usually happens in around January and summer, like July, I think, every year. One of the things that I like is finding a speedrun of a game that I never really heard of or never really thought about as a speedrunning thing. And sometimes they've got some like absolutely great runs. Or did you find anything that kind of surprised you that you thought was interesting?
Yeah, absolutely. So one of them was called King's Quest 3.
Oh
And this
yeah.
is a really old PC game. And it's a point and click adventure game. One of those puzzle style adventure games where you go from screen to screen, you have to type your actions in, right? And the speedrunning community around this game is very unique because of how, I don't want to say awful, but it's unlike any other speedrun. It really is. Like in the middle of the speedrun, there's just a 15-minute break where you just have to wait because your character's on the ship and you're just waiting. And it's a 15-minute in-game timer. And the
That's a
streamers will go
long
up.
time.
Yeah. They'll go get food or like get a drink or something. Yeah, it's unbelievable. So that's been a wild one. Another one was a game. I can't remember the name of it now. I think it's called Tasmania. Yeah, Tasmania.
Okay.
Okay, this is a platformer. This is a platformer for the Sega Game Gear, and it has, without question, the worst music I've ever heard in any video game ever. And it's no exaggeration. If you listened in the credits for this game, no one is listed as a composer. There's no.
Oh my god!
They didn't want to
No
put their name
way.
on it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, or there just wasn't anyone, and it's just random
just really cool.
beeps and boops. I can't describe it. If you're watching this, go check it out. Tasmania GDQ. It's unbelievable. It's like a 10-minute speed run.
I want to go see it now for the beeps and boops.
That
That's
was
so funny.
unbelievable. And then Two Worlds. I don't know if you guys remember Two Worlds. It was the
Yes.
poor man's Oblivion, as they called it
Yes.
back in the day. And that speed run was 2 minutes and 50 seconds. They beat the game in
Yeah.
2 minutes.
Whoa,
That's the
That is
speedrun, right?
ridiculous.
Where you
that
get
is
like.
crazy.
I died laughing when I found out about this speedrun because isn't it the speedrun? It's like the main villain of the game is in the first town, and so the way you do the speedrun is you convince the villagers to just randomly start a fight with the final boss and have the villagers kill the final boss for you because you're not strong enough yet. But then the whole town just gangs up on them and it's over.
That's exactly right. Yep.
That's
You know,
ridiculous.
That reminds me of what game was it? Oh god, I can't remember. Where they were like the guy, like it was like a cult, and I'm sorry, I'm gonna mess this up so
that?
bad. He's like a cult, and they're growing these white flowers. Do you know what I'm talking about? And they're using it
No.
as a drug. Oh
No
my
idea.
god, you do. You and I don't know what it's. Oh, Far Cry. It's one of the Far
Oh,
Cries.
Far
I think it's one
Cry.
of the Far Cry.
Okay.
And then
maybe
at
it
the
was
very
like,
beginning of the game, you have an option to like go deal with the cult or just leave.
Yes.
Far Cry 4. There's a way to
Yeah.
end Far Cry 4
And you can
ridiculously
just,
quickly.
yeah, you could just be like, yeah, no, I'm not going to deal with this. And then that's
Yeah.
just the end of the game.
Yeah, you get
Yeah.
back on the helicopter and then you just go and you leave. Like that's
and
it.
you leave, and that's it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lou, have you ever watched Summoning Salt videos?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
I have. Love those.
I'm not-
videos.
So good.
I'm not big on like the speedrunning community, but those videos get me so amped up. And like the latest one was pretty interesting.
Which one was it?
So like, yeah, if you what was the last? He just came out with one like a week ago. I'm
missed that one.
blanking on what it was.
I definitely want to check out these speed runs, though. The only one I've ever seen is a Zelda one, and like, no, it was like they were breaking the game. I think
Yeah.
that's what it was.
Mhm.
That's what
Super
yeah,
Punch
most-
Out, Darren.
Super Punch Out.
The
Oh,
latest
interesting.
Summoning Salt Super Punch Out. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll have to
Yeah.
check that out.
But what about you, Darren? What have you been up to?
Oh man, I was almost hoping that no one would ask me.
Oh no, we were going
Because
to ask.
Mm-hmm.
it's like, can we just like pretend I did something interesting and like move on with the conversation? I
Make it up.
I went to the market the other day
Okay.
and I ran into this man who was kind of just like standing outside. And normally I would, just ignore this person, go in and buy whatever I had to buy. But he had like this little bag with him. It was like making like a little like jingling noise. And so I was like, what's in the bag? And he's like, I've got some magic beans. And so I was like, okay, how much are these magic beans? And he would only take a cow. He wouldn't take money. He would take a
I'm
cow.
so mad. I
And
literally
Darren,
thought
quick
you were
question.
telling a real story. I was so interested because I wanted to know what was in the bag, and then you were like magic beans, and I was like, mother effing Jack and the Beanstalk.
Darren, quick question for world building. What kind of market was it?
it
It had to be like a farmer's market.
it was
You would
it
think so,
was
but you never know with Darren.
a Loblaws,
A what?
Fair.
very
Wait, what is this?
popular.
This must be a Canadian
Grocery
thing.
store.
Yeah, grocery store in Canada, very popular.
Oh,
grocery store
okay,
in Canada.
okay.
It's a real place. I swear
No,
to God.
I believe you. I just don't believe everything else.
No, but Destiny, it's a real grocery store.
No, I
No,
believe you that it's a real grocery store. I just don't
I
believe, and I feel like Darren would never go up to a stranger and ask what was jingling in the bag. Like he would absolutely never do that.
no, I would just walk right by that person. Like, I don't want to interact with this
Yeah.
human being now or ever again. And so yeah, no, I just been like watching videos of people playing games rather than
What
playing game. I
games?
watched it's funny that Lou brought up World of Warcraft because I actually watched a freaking 5-hour video series by this guy named Barney B about his journey to become Scarab Lord in WoW Classic.
Oh my
I'm hurt. I'm hurt that you would watch a 5-hour series, but you don't want to go back and listen to us talk smack about you in the podcast.
I do sometimes.
Or that you could have finished multiple games in that time frame from your giant backlog of games that you haven't finished.
Because you know what it
But this is
is?
not a dump on Darren
This is
episode.
this is mom and dad are disappointed, Darren.
Just a little bit.
This
Just a
is
little bit.
Mhm.
it's because I was trying to do my homework and I was avoiding doing my homework, and I was like, if I start a game, then I'll feel guilty. So let me just watch one video because it's split into parts. And I'm like, I'll just watch a part,
Turned
and it
into
was
a
really good. I'm
5-hour
like,
marathon.
yeah, I'll just watch another part. And I highly recommend anyone with like a passing interest in what like the top of the top tier WoW players' lives are like and what they have to do in WoW Classic. Highly recommend looking up Barney B, the YouTuber, his Scarab Lord journey. And Lou, you have to watch this if you haven't seen it. It's so well edited.
Yes.
It's so good.
I might check it out just because I watched over like a year of George the Witcher play The Witcher. So it was really good. It was
Yeah,
really
no, I
good. I
bet.
learned so much. I learned so much. Um,
But
but I
enough
had a
about.
question.
Oh, you had a question then. Yeah, please take the question. Do it. Say the question.
It was for Lou. But if you had something else to say about what
No, I
you
don't.
did, then I will wait. You don't? Okay.
No.
Okay. So Lou, I wanted to ask because you're like making music and everything, what programs are you using? I remember in college I had to use Pro Tools
Mhm.
and and the first time I made music was with Adobe Premiere, which is not what you use to make music, but I just
Yeah.
lined things up like the little clips by like how they looked and made patterns.
Wow.
It always sounded good. Okay.
Yeah.
It always sounded good.
Yeah, great question. So I use PreSonus Studio One, and it's a popular DAW or digital audio workstation. So Pro Tools is another example of a DAW. Um, Pro Tools is really the industry standard, but the problem is it's prohibitively expensive.
Yes.
So if you're not, I don't live in LA. I'm not a record producer in LA or anything like that. No one's looking to me to use Pro Tools. I can use whatever I want. So
Right.
Studio One was the one that it was free. There's a free version, and the free version is very powerful. So yeah, I started on there, and then by the time I had learned some stuff, I had purchased some other DAWs. I bought Ableton Live. I tried Reaper as well, and it was like, yeah, these are fine, but I already know how to use Studio One, so I just stuck with that. So
Okay.
yeah, Studio One is the DAW that I use. That's where I produce all my tunes on a MacBook Pro.
Do you play any instruments?
I do, yeah. So my musical journey started with the bass guitar. So I started playing bass when I was 17, and yeah, then I was in some rock bands from there, a lot of rock bands after that. And then in 2017, I started producing. And that was that, when I started with Studio One and all that. And that was a whole new rabbit hole to go down, but one that's been very fulfilling.
Would you say
And
that someone, I'm sorry, I have a bunch of questions leading up to this. I'm sorry, Darren. It's all within the same realm. Would you
we're in
say if
it. We're
somebody
we're in
wanted
it
to get
now.
into so if somebody wanted to get into music, would you say they needed to have a background with playing an instrument first, or could they just kind of like jump into it?
You can absolutely jump into it. The thing about music, I hate to use the term modern, but I'll say music today. The thing about music today and the music scene today and how music is made is that the production is the song. It's the production is the music.
Right.
Whereas, say, 50 years ago plus, music production was all about capturing something that would have happened live anyway, regardless of if the
Right.
microphones
Right.
were there
Right.
or not. You're just capturing a jazz band or a rock band. It was really the Beatles that changed that. They made and the pep and uh, the Beach Boys as well. Excuse me. Some other ones there as well. But they used the studio as an instrument, and that's where production really started to take off. And now, electronic music, which is fantastic. The whole thing is production. When I'm listening to electronic music, that's what I listen for is this slick production. Um, so yeah, if you even if you don't have any background, if you can't play guitar, if you can't play keys, you can absolutely get into it. If you can drag blocks and click a mouse, you can make music. Absolutely.
That is why I used Adobe Premiere.
Yeah, that's right. That's it.
But no, that's cool. Thank you for answering that. Because I just, for any of our listeners who were like, who wanted to get into music or maybe thought about it, like, you don't necessarily have to have like played saxophone terribly like I did in high school. You can.
I was wondering why you brought up saxophone and then you wrapped it up. Okay, we
Because
good.
listen, I love, my dad listens to a lot of jazz, and I was like obsessed with Kenny G, and I really wanted to play soprano sax, but we didn't have that. All we had was this like beat up like alto saxophone. I was just
Mm,
awful. I'm awful at all instruments, but I have a really good ear for
mm,
music, so
yeah.
that's what I was asking.
Yeah, absolutely. Having the ear is super important. Above all, just the drive to make music is what it's all about. If you have that drive, you'll make a music with whatever you can get your hands on.
That's true.
That's
I
awesome.
sing all the
Yeah.
time in the shower.
There you go. Yeah.
I should have never been allowed the keys to this car, but we're in it now. And this was a great segue into what we're here to talk about is Lou. We're here to talk about you. And also, fun fact for our listeners who don't know, Lou and I go a little bit back where we worked together on a website called Lou's Reviews, where
Yes.
so Lou, video games have been in your blood for quite some time. And as we start this
Yes.
conversation about you and your music, I want to link it to video games as well. I would
Yep.
be correct in assuming that you have some video game influences in your music, correct?
100%. I love video game music. Love it. Um, and my most popular video when I was doing Lose Reviews was a video on the Nintendo sanctioned F-Zero Jazz album that Nintendo actually hired session players to cover F-Zero songs
Very
and
unlike
not just any
Nintendo.
session players. Yeah.
Yeah.
And these were some of the best session players around. Session players are people who get called into a gig, right? Like your favorite musician, their hero is probably some session player that they worked with, right? Some person who comes in and kills it on the first take. So yeah, they got some killer session players to play. Alex Acuna, who is the drummer for Weather Report, one of the most well-known jazz fusion bands. That guy absolutely shreds. Yeah, that album is killer. So yeah, I love video game music. Geez, World of Warcraft has spectacular music. There's a great album called Taverns of Azeroth. That is a Blizzard official album, and it's only music from taverns in World of Warcraft on a CD. And it's spectacular. I couldn't recommend it enough. I've
That's
listened to it
great.
an ungodly amount. Yeah, it's a great. Yeah, so absolutely video game influences 100%. Yep.
So where how did you go? I want to hear your story, like your transition from, you know, video game critic you're trying to explore there to Mad Seedling, which I want everyone to know. Fantastic first album. I love your music. Like, so how'd you go
Thank you.
from game critic to Mad Seedling? What's this transition like?
For sure. Let's see. It was 2018, it was late 2017. And I was in a graduate class. I studied philosophy at Brock University, and I was in a graduate class for a writer called Philip K. Dick, who wrote a lot of sci-fi that it's very popular. He wrote Minority Report. He wrote Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep, lots of stuff. Man in the High Castle. I read a book called Clans of the Alphane Moon, and I hated this book. So I did a presentation on it. I did a presentation on it for my class, and one of the girls in the class was like, "This is awesome. You should do a YouTube channel." And I thought, maybe I should. I love YouTube. YouTube is where I spend most of my time, quite frankly. So I thought, let's give it a shot. So first, I started writing. I started a website. I started writing reviews on stuff, articles on stuff, and then thought, well, this is great and all, but I need to, branch out into video content. So yeah, Lose Reviews. I was doing basically, most of the branding and the marketing and stuff like that. Darren was on the team as well. He was doing some articles, which was great. And
Yes,
I had I had a little bit of success. One of my videos, the F-Zero Jazz video, got to the front page of Reddit. It went to the top of r/Nintendo. So it got like
Nice.
30 something thousand views. But that was after that, I started getting burnt out. And I realized, I was ready for something different. And by that, I mean, it was time to get a real job, I guess, because I had bills to pay and whatnot. And I just didn't have the time to do it anymore, unfortunately. So, and the burnout is real too, I will say. It's really easy to get burnt out when you're a content creator, which is, I'm being very mindful of that this time around with Mad Seedling. I'm sure everyone in this here has experienced some form of that as well. I'm sure it's something every content creator experiences. So yeah, I stopped doing Lose Reviews, and then a little while after, the music really started picking up. So I started getting more comfortable with producing songs on my own. I'm a big fan of Thievery Corporation, which is a musical group from the States, from Washington, D.C., and they make down-tempo music. So this was my foray into electronic music and production. I wanted to be like them. So I just started producing music. I found this website online that helps you get your music onto platforms. So I released an album, released a second album, and then last year started doing Instagram, and Instagram really started snowballing for me. I just hit 3,000 followers, so I'm really blown away by the response I get on Instagram. So yeah, geez, hopefully that answers your question. That was a bit of a long-winded response, but
that's good.
Cool. That was a good response.
Mm-hmm. So I was wondering then, like, keeping in this video game music world, like, my question is twofold. If you could go back to any video game and rework the soundtrack, like, what game would you want to do? And then, like, moving forward, let's say like the dream developer or publisher comes to you and say, Lou, we want Mad Seedling TM on our next game. What game, franchise, or genre or whatever, what would you want to work on?
Hell yeah. Okay. So I'll answer the second question first. You may have to repeat the first question. Let me answer the second question first. Okay. Super Giant Games. I am a huge fan of Super Giant Games. Huge fan of Darren Korb, their audio director. Love every one of their games. Love them. Love the music. I've got the soundtracks. That would be like, yeah, I could put a fork in me. I'm done. I could die happily if I somehow got the pleasure to work with them. That would be a dream come true. And then your first question, what would I redo? What music would I redo? That's a tough one.
You can't say Tasmania. You can't bring that one back because you already said that game has the worst music. So not that one. I'll veto that one. But other than that,
other than a Tasmania Redemption, I would say. So okay, maybe this is a weird answer, but maybe Valorant.
Okay,
maybe Valorant. Yeah.
Interesting.
I find the menu music to be a little bit repetitive. I find the sounds they're using to be not so hip. And again, that's me, and I love Valorant. So I criticize because I love. But yeah, maybe Valorant, or maybe another game that I really loved that had a great score, but not any really memorable hooks was Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order.
Nice.
Yeah. That was a fantastic game, by the way. Loved that game. It was like a baby's first Dark Souls, but it was still a good game.
Which is why I liked it.
Yeah. And so cinematic too. Great game.
Really
But it's
good.
kind of funny that you
Man, I
mentioned that
think
because you got a good point about the music, where Star Wars is known for having such like definitive, well-known music, but
Theatrical
Jedi
Mhm.
music.
Fallen
Yeah.
Order
Yeah.
was kind of like it kind of fell a little bit in that area.
Yeah, and again, it had that sort of orchestral feel to it, but I don't like that in games. That's just me, and maybe we're gonna get some some hate in the comments, maybe. But yeah, or sweeping orchestral scores is not something I dig in games. And I have friends who disagree with me. A friend of mine loves the Arkham Knight and Arkham City soundtracks,
Yeah.
and those
Mhm.
are really orchestral. It's just not for me. I much prefer groove based and rhythm based music personally. But that's just me, and
Hmm.
not to say it's bad at all by any
Mhm.
means.
Different taste. That's all.
Yeah.
I
Nothing
was
wrong with
trying to
that.
think of like how groove music would have sounded like at the final boss fight in Final Fantasy VII, because that's very. I'm just trying to think of how it would sound, because that song
Yeah.
is.
But I
I
think
don't know
it's a
what I'm
different
trying to say.
because like one winged angel, I think is like a different
Yeah,
kind of
it's
orchestral
so.
piece because it's very in your
Yeah,
face.
that's true. It is
Where
so in your face, but it gets you hyped, and that's weird. It is weird because it sounds like it's going to be a church song. You know what I mean? It sounds
yeah,
like a choir comes out and you're about to praise God, but actually you're fighting this demonic force. But it also gets you hyped, like I'm going to kick some butt, but also like you want to pray at the same time. I don't know. It's weird.
Many
It's totally
feelings.
weird. A lot of feelings. A lot of feelings.
so
But I hope
what do
you
you
get to like make some music for games. Sorry, go ahead, Darren. My
Hmm.
bad. That's all I was going to say. I'm sorry.
um what do you think like makes a good video game soundtrack then? Like what do you think is the building blocks of a classic game soundtrack?
Yeah. It's melody. Melody is the thing, I think, because and I come, I'm a millennial. I think we're all sort of around the same age, so we all sort of grew up playing similar games. And the things that I love most about the games of my childhood are those unstoppable earworm melodies, right? Think Pokemon. All of those themes are unbelievable. And they were so limited with what they could do, but yeah, a catchy hook. It's got to have a hook. It's got to hook you in. Another game that's got great music that's much newer, Battle Block Theater.
Oh yeah.
Spectacular music in that game. Very groove based, super funky. Love it. Yeah. Super Giant, again, hooks all over, great instrumentals. Yeah, spectacular. So I'd have to say melody and my favorite video game composers are, Koji Kondo and David Wise from Nintendo. Koji Kondo, of course, responsible for most of the classic Nintendo stuff that we recognize, and then David Wise did a lot of the stuff too. But he did the Donkey Kong Country stuff, which
Yes.
was spectacular. So those are some of my favorites, and Darren Korb from Super Giant, of course.
Sorry,
So then
Grant
I'm
Kirkhope.
curious
David
to
Weiss
ask
is
then,
better.
who?
Grant Kirkhope was
I'm
also
a
a
fan of
composer
Grant
at
Kirkhope.
Rareware. He's
Yeah, he
good, but
was. Yeah, he did Banjo Kazooie. Yeah, he's good too for sure.
So then I was wondering then, like for someone who's starting out, whether it's, they want to make video game music or they want to make music in any shape or form, you have a couple albums under your belt now, or you have a new one coming. What are some of the biggest things, like looking back, that you wish you did differently, or some like mistakes that you made starting out that you'd be like, if you're trying to do this, here are some things not to do?
Yeah. Great question. So it's very easy to so let me use a turn of phrase here. It's very easy to smell your own farts and think they smell like roses. But yeah, I think try to make your music as relevant as possible. Find a genre you like, operate within that genre. Genreification is very important. If you're making something that can't be classified, it's going to be very hard to find an audience. So
Okay.
genreifying yourself is my number one tip. And don't struggle if something isn't clicking. For me, the process should be effortless. It should come together as though it was always there. And
Mhm.
when you make something when that moment clicks, it feels like that. It feels like this thing was always there and I just discovered it. So yeah, don't be afraid to throw things away. Don't be afraid to start over. And yeah, try to genreify yourself. It may seem limited, but I find if the more you limit yourself, the more creative actually you can be. It sounds paradoxical, but like for real.
Sounds like really good relationship advice.
Right?
It really does. Like when you were talking,
Yeah.
if I came in and I didn't know we were talking about games, I'd be like, man, this dude is spitting.
Yeah, I mean, I find that I found that was true. When you first start with a music program like Studio One, it can be so overwhelming because there's
Mhm.
so many options, right?
Yeah.
Whereas if you were to say, I'm only going to use this one thing, then you'll actually like make something that is workable, right?
Mhm.
Your creativity comes out when you limit yourself. Sounds strange, try it. I bet it's going to work.
It doesn't sound strange at all. Actually, like when you think about people and like when they don't have access to a lot of tools and they're forced to become creative and use what they
Mm,
have,
yeah,
like that's really what it is. Like it forces you to think outside of the box, which is like so important when you're like in the industry of being creative. Like limit yourself and it forces you to find out how to do things in a different way and you get a lot of happy accidents. At least that's what
yeah.
I've found out for myself.
Couldn't agree more. Absolutely.
That was beautiful.
Mhm.
No, that was great. Yeah.
Random segue. There's this guy. Sorry, random segue. There's this guy who like
I'm gonna
uses a
spin around in
typewriter
a
to create the
360.
most amazing art. That's all I want to
Mm,
say. That's all I want to say. He uses a typewriter to create and that's just what he had on hand. And like his art is amazing. It's so beautiful. So
How does he do
sorry. I
that?
know there was a long pause. Oh my God, I could not even begin to explain to you how he does it because when you
I got
look
this
at,
one, Destiny. Hold on.
okay,
What
thank
what
you,
he
Matt.
does really is he just takes a typewriter, throws it on the ground at some paper, and whatever ink spills out, that's art.
That's not at all what he does, but it's incredible because like when you're watching him type, like he's done like a bunch of photos. I will try to find him. It was like a random TikTok video, so I don't know if I'm going to be able to find it, but it's I think like even musically, if you look at like different tribes who don't have like access to like a saxophone, sorry about that up again, or like a guitar or a bass, and they're just using things that they're able to build, and they come up with the most beautiful music, and it's like
yeah.
I agree with you. That's all. That was a long-winded way to say I absolutely agree with your advice.
I
Yes.
I I want to know, and again, I'm sorry, Destiny. It's just Darren delay and everything. But
No, no, it's okay.
what is next for Bad Seedling? Like, I know you have an album coming up, but like, where do you want to take it? Would you consider working on a video game? Do you want to try and do some tours? Like, where, where are you going? Where is this car that I've hijacked traveling once you've wrestled controls away from me?
I love it.
Darren, take the wheel.
Darren has
you,
taken the wheel.
you
Get
can
your
sit in the
seatbelts
passenger
on.
seat, my dude.
Thank you.
Yeah, great question. So I've got the album coming out in April. I have another album that's basically done that I'm not really sure what to do with just yet. Probably going to pitch
Just
it to
eat
some
it.
labels and see where it goes, or just eat it maybe.
It reminded me of
Yeah,
the Weird Al
you know,
Yankovic remake of Just Beat It.
Just eat it.
Darren,
Oh.
I didn't consider that, but I'll add that to the list. Just eat it. Yeah.
Good. Just
Um,
consider it.
I'm playing a gig in. I've got a gig finally now that things are opening up again.
Congratulations!
Yay!
Congrats.
Thank you.
Congrats.
Yep. So that's coming March 12th here in St. Catharines, Ontario. Looking forward to that. And then after that, just looking for more gigs. I want to fill up my time as much as I can with music. I've been collaborating with people. Very excited about that. There is a Canadian musician a lo-fi artist by the name of Invention, who is
Okay.
massively popular in the lo-fi scene. And I've been connecting with him, and we might be collaborating on something, which is so exciting for me. Super excited
I
about that.
love that.
Yeah. So yeah, just keep producing, keep gigging. Really looking forward to this gig, to be honest with you, because the exposure is going to be spectacular, and it's gonna be great practice. So
Is it going to be
yeah,
live streamed or anything like that?
I'm probably going to record it.
Okay.
I might have to get a bigger SD card because it's gonna be like 2 hours of music.
Oh,
But
okay.
but I'm probably gonna record it and take a video of myself for the whole thing and then upload it on my YouTube channel. I'm thinking
Oh,
about that.
Please, I'd love to
cool.
see
So
it.
we should
Yeah.
like, well, yeah. Tell us when you do. We'll pump you up. And I
Cool.
have a
Thank
question.
you.
So have you ever, I don't know, just throwing this out here, thought about doing music for like, podcasts or anything like that?
Yeah,
Just curious. Just
yeah,
curious.
I was
100%.
thinking the same thing, Destiny. So weird.
Oh God,
What a random
right here.
question.
Yeah.
100%. I've got, yeah, and I would be absolutely open to that. I would love to work with you guys on that if that's what you're getting at.
That
I've
was
done
what I was
music.
getting at.
I've done music for a friend of ours, a mutual friend of Darren and I. He plays a lot of Dungeons and Dragons, and
Yes.
I did some music for his campaigns, which was a lot of fun. Yeah, so that was
I got
cool.
excited. You know why I got excited?
I
Okay.
know why you got excited.
Okay. Sorry.
We have some things to talk about after, apparently, Lou.
Talk about.
But Darren, maybe we have to, depending on where we're at and how your schedule's looking and stuff, maybe we take a trip out to St. Catharines March 12th then.
Maybe I have an album
Oh
to eat.
God, I wish I could go.
Well, it's just, maybe you can delay the next 5-hour World of Warcraft video to the Sunday.
Yeah, maybe, Darren. Please go for me. You guys have to go for me.
Yeah, we'll
If
take
you
I'll
can,
take
that'd
a
be
look at my
great. Yeah,
calendar.
if
We'll
you
see
guys
what's
can
going
stay
on.
over after if you want.
Like we're like putting him on the spot on the show.
Yeah,
He's like, I might be busy.
Guys,
I might
calm
be busy
down,
that day.
I'm not gonna make
Might be
any
busy. I might be
promises.
busy.
Yeah.
let's drive 2 hours, Darren.
You can have the keys.
Oh, he's letting you drive.
And then, as long as someone tries to wrestle
There you
him
go.
from me.
You always bring
Sit
things
up.
back to wrestling you. Every time.
He wants his number one love language is physical touch. I thought we all knew this.
Exactly. Well, Lou, thank you so much. I'm so excited to get this away from talking about me touching things. I'm so excited for you. I'm so incredibly happy. I got my fingers crossed. We're like just nothing but the best, man. I wish you nothing but the best.
Thank
Yeah.
you, sir.
As I segue to the
We
news.
echo the sentiment.
Mhm.
We wish
So
you the
mad.
best too. I know we're being silly.
We
I
want
think
to
it's
wish
I
last,
love
people the
silly.
best.
we do. Like I definitely wish you. I wish I could come support you at your thing, but that's like an 18-hour drive, and I don't love anybody enough for that.
That's okay.
So.
No worries.
But
Listen,
if you post
I
it,
might.
I'll share it on Instagram. And do you have a
Perfect.
TikTok? Are you sharing your stuff on TikTok?
I'm on TikTok. Yep, I'm on TikTok.
Okay, I
At
got
Mad
you.
Seedling. At Mad Seedling on Instagram. At Mad Seedling on TikTok. Check me
Are
out.
you
go.
making it downloadable off of TikTok? Because when you post something, you can make it downloadable. Like other people can download it. So if you do that, then I can download it and I could share it on my Instagram story.
Okay. I think I've got that selected. So yeah, I'll make
Okay,
sure
cool.
Yeah. And
There
yeah,
you go,
no,
perfect.
we'll keep supporting each other on Instagram.
Yeah.
I can't wait, man. I can't wait to hear the new one. And like, I really do genuinely hope we make it out to that show. And I have no doubt in my mind that you've got nothing but amazingly incredible things in front of you. And like 5 years from now, we're going to be like, we knew this guy once and now he's making music over
Absolutely
at
not. That's not what's going to happen. 5 years from now, we're going to be working with him, making amazing, incredible things.
Yeah.
Amazing, incredible things.
Right.
That's right.
That's a better way to put it.
Yeah, I like
I'm
that.
gonna rewind.
Better.
Anyways, as Darren passed over the news baton to me 2 minutes ago, we have two news stories that we're going to jump into today. Both of them will be coming from Eurogamer. The first one, written by Vicky Blake. Final Fantasy XIV brings back free trials from next week. Final Fantasy XIV producer and director Naoki Yoshida made the announcement in his most recent letter from the producer livestream broadcast earlier today, as of whenever they wrote this, confirming that the free trial will be once again available on the 22nd of February this week, the day after, the day before this podcast went live. So it's out already. But yeah, it's been infamously gone for the last few months because of how ridiculously popular Final Fantasy XIV was. They stopped selling the game. They stopped making the free trial available to everyone. But now, Darren, I'm pretty sure you can play all the way up to the first expansion or level 60 in Heavensward in the Final Fantasy XIV free trial.
Wow.
That is correct, my friend.
What? Oh
You
my
can.
god, I bought it for nothing.
Well, yes. Although,
Yes.
although there are
I'm
benefits to
mad.
buying it. Yeah, like
Okay.
the free trial like doesn't you're not allowed to like basically interact with any human around you if you're on the free trial. Like people have to like invite you into a party and like a bunch of stuff. So
Mhm.
it's very
But you can
restrictive.
talk to people, right?
Yeah, you could talk to people, but you actually I don't think you're allowed to
Ah,
type in shout chat. Like you're only allowed to talk to people right beside you. And you can talk to people in a party, but you can't
okay.
make your own party. You have to be invited into a party.
Mhm.
But
Okay, okay. I see the perks.
Yeah.
All right.
yeah, but you can still play up to level 60, including the award-winning Heavensward expansion. But I'm very happy about this. I'd like to take this opportunity from all of you to talk a little bit longer because not only was that the only thing that was announced at the live letter, because I watched the live letter. It was 4 hours long. I watched the whole thing. And
Darren, that's 9 hours.
That's
When I
nine
add that,
hours.
that's 9 hours.
Yeah,
I
5 + 4. Guess what, Destiny? How many is that?
That's 9.
Thank
well,
you.
it started at 9 p.m. and I had finished my homework for the day. So like I actually did something. But I just want to
So
take
you were up until 1 a.m.
yeah, I
and that
was.
didn't encumber you at all the next day with the lack of sleep,
Yeah, you
Darren?
weren't tired? You weren't tired
It
the next
I
day?
You
I
a little
was
tie
tired.
tie?
I was
No?
a little tired. I was a
Yeah.
little tired.
Yeah.
Um but I'm going to use this news topic to jump into the other news topic that I think is very interesting, which is that Final Fantasy at this live letter said that they're like they want to keep making the game for another 10 years. And so to do that, they're doing a massive graphical update of the game and they're
Huh.
redoing not the character models, but they're redoing all the textures and all the lighting within the same engine. And they showed some
Okay.
yeah, they showed some photos of what that's going to look like, and it looks really good. Like I was quite impressed. And they plan on implementing the first stage of this graphical update because it's going to come in stages. There's just too much stuff to update all at once at the start of the
Mhm.
next expansion, which will be like 2 years from now. Um, but
That
it's
makes
good to know.
sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good to know that they have that forethought to be like, we know this game looks like a PS3 game because it came out at the same time as PS3. If we want people to keep playing it,
Mhm.
we're going to have to make it look better because it does look very dated right now.
Mhm. So
Yeah.
then, Lou, as like a big WoW fan and a big MMORPG fan, have you
Yeah.
messed around with Final Fantasy 14, which the free trial includes up to level 60, or the award-winning Heavensward expansion?
That you don't
Award-winning,
have to pay
exactly. Yeah.
for.
Mhm.
So I played Final Fantasy. I played quite a bit. I got to max level during Heaven's Word. I played a Dragoon, and
Nice.
I had a lot of fun with that game. I have some criticisms,
Fair.
but no, it's a great game. I can see why people really enjoy it. In terms of the end game content, the boss mechanics and the boss encounters are far more intricate than anything that came out in WoW. At least when I was playing retail WoW. So yeah, those fights are something else. It's a really cool game. Yeah.
Nice.
I
Yeah,
Yeah,
got
I'm
bored playing
yeah.
it.
if you were playing at that time in Heaven's Word and you were playing the current content, you were playing the raid that almost killed the raid scene of the game. Because famously
Alexander.
Alexander almost killed the game again because it was far too hard. And
Mm,
they changed things after that.
yeah.
That was nice of them.
Yeah. I'm glad they
I
changed things.
Yeah, I do.
while
It is.
No, I agree.
It's nice of them, yeah.
while we're on the
Yeah.
topic, I want to air my criticism about Final Fantasy, if you'll allow
Please
me.
Please
do.
do.
Yeah,
I will
go
take
ahead,
it.
go
I'll
ahead.
take the criticisms.
Okay, yes. And again, I do enjoy the game. Don't get me wrong. Okay, number one, the class rotations. So as a Dragoon, for instance, I only ever have one rotation. I have to press this button, then I have to press this button. I press that one, and then I might be able to press this one or that one, depending on what I want to do, right? And it never changes. Whereas in WoW, it's different. Your rotation changes based on your gear, based on your specialization, based on how much haste or expertise rating you have, based on your raid composition. So it's a little bit more dynamic. The other thing is that Final Fantasy doesn't allow add-ons or mods, which is
No.
strange. Um, so yeah, and then I heard that if you talk about them, you can get banned from the game. Is that the case?
Potentially. But
Okay, yeah,
if
like damage meters.
yeah, like you're
What?
not allowed to use damage meters. You're allowed to talk about them in a general sense, but if you use them to be like, "Hey, you're not doing enough damage," then you can be
Yeah,
banned.
and I get that. That is definitely positive because when in WoW, they had the whole gear score thing where you wouldn't even be let into the group if your gear wasn't at a certain number,
Yeah.
which is total gatekeeping and really
Yeah.
frustrating if you're a new player. So I get it. Yeah, it's yeah. Anyway, great
But then
game.
you
Don't get
can't
me wrong.
improve because you can't check your damage numbers.
Yeah, or for sure, you can't see them live, and there are instances in WoW where having the damage meter on your screen is actually detrimental to you because you get tunnel vision. You just
Yeah.
stare at it, and you're just like, "Oh, I'm doing so good, right?" And then you die because you're standing in the fire or something. So yeah, it's different strokes for different folks. It's a great game. It's got a great world, great story. Yeah,
Are you in
Nice.
Darren's guild?
I'm not. No.
No, no, no,
Oh,
no, no.
he was trying
Well,
to
he
No.
hasn't
recruit
played for a
us.
while. I
Yeah, it's been a
was.
while.
Well, if you play again, Darren would love to have you a part of his guild.
I would love to have you in my guild, please.
He
Um,
would love to have you in his guild.
but I want to thank you for airing your grievances because I think we've had too much Final Fantasy positivity, and we need some.
Wait a minute. What? Who says
I
stuff like that? We've just been saying too many good things about the game, so
we
thank
we
you for
need
balancing
balance.
it out.
We need
I had to take it
That
balance.
down a
is true.
peg.
Darren usually balances us out. Like he's usually like the negative Nancy of the group. Not the people whose names are Nancy are always negative. I just
Yes,
want to
they
throw
are.
that out there. It's
Yes, they
just a
are.
saying.
Every time.
But Darren has just been like 100% love, love, love about this game. So yeah. I'm the
We
only
need
one
someone
who's
to.
like, it's slow and I don't really like
Yeah.
it.
Which is fair. Which is totally fair.
It
All
is.
right, let's talk about one more news story before we wrap here. This is also coming from Eurogamer, written by Tom Phillips. Street Fighter 6 has been announced. Capcom has now made Street Fighter 6 official and released its first teaser trailer. Details are thin on the ground, including exactly where and when the game will see release. More news Capcom has promised will be revealed this summer. So we got a short teaser trailer. There was a countdown clock going for the last week. There was a lot of speculation whether this was Resident Evil 4 remake or whether this was Street Fighter 6 or whether this was something else entirely. And we finally find out it is now Street Fighter 6. We got a very beautiful looking teaser trailer. And just as people were incredibly horny for the Resident Evil lady, now a lot of people are horny about Ryu. So the cycle of horniness continues.
That was so.
But anyways, so Street Fighter 6, we know it's coming. Looks interesting. I know a lot of people had some feelings about Street Fighter 5 at launch. Apparently, it was not very good and has now become much better. But Street Fighter 6 is on the horizon. Lou, are you a big fighting game person at all? Does this news do anything for you?
I gotta say, fighting games, one genre I've never gotten into. Yeah, unfortunately not. But hey, good to see a series continuing. Good old Capcom, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
keep
Yep.
pumping out those
Bring
sequels.
back Darkstalkers. That was so good.
Actually, fun fact.
So
Destiny.
you would have rather this be? Oh, actually, fun fact, Destiny. Darren has
Actually,
a
fun
for you.
fact.
Yeah.
Actually, fun fact. Capcom,
There's an
at
actual
the
fun
same
fact.
time as this announcement of Street Fighter 6, they announced for Switch, I don't know if they confirmed other platforms, I just know Switch for sure, the Capcom Fighters Collection, which collects all of the Darkstalkers games, I'm pretty sure, plus like
Ooh, nice.
something called like Red Path or something like that, which is like a game
don't
that's
know
never been
that.
taken out of the arcade before.
So you get Darkstalkers, Darkstalkers Revenge, Vampire Savior, Vampire Hunter 2, Vampire Savior 2, Red Earth, Cyberbots, Super Gem Fighter Mini Max, Super Puzzle Fighter 2 Turbo, and Hyper Street Fighter 2 in a collection.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
That's cool. They should make a new one though.
Yes.
Because
Yes.
I just think Darkstalkers was pretty good. You know what I was thinking about? Like, you know, when they're sitting around the table and they're like, what new game should we make? And they're like, let's make another one. Let's do like number 6. And it's just kind of like, I don't know. I just feel like do something else. Maybe that's just me, and I don't want people to come at me because I know there are people who love fighting games. but it's like
Mhm.
this, it just feels very much the same to me. Maybe it's not, but it's like two people fighting in a new arena, right? That's what it is. It's two people
I just
fighting in
want
a new arena, and you like having to memorize the like whatevers. I'm a button smasher. I don't memorize nothing.
I
If
just
I
want
can
new
find
ways to
one
pound my
move
friends.
that'll kill you, yeah, if I can find one move that kicks your butt, I will use it over
Sweep the
and
leg.
over again. I am that person. Don't play the game with me. But yeah, I just feel like I don't know. I just
And
feel
that's
like we
fair.
could do something more.
And that's fair. A lot of people are ripping apart the logo, and somebody actually found the logo, the assets for the logo on like a Premiere Pro, like Adobe website, which they, I guess, bought the logo for like $70 and then tweaked it a little bit. So a lot of people are upset, and people say it looks like Street Fighter has like 6 emails waiting for them because it's just a little 6 next to the thing. So people have
Oh
people
my
have feelings
god.
about the logo. But Darren, any feelings about this? Do you care? Are you excited about a new Street Fighter?
No.
Do you want to pound your friends in a different way?
Yes.
Cool, good talk. Anyways, that's the end of news, and I throw it back over to Darren to wrap up the show.
That was
Thank
such a
you.
weird way to say that.
I
Go ahead.
I have nothing
I heard your joke,
to defend
Darren.
myself. Yeah,
I
yeah.
heard what you said.
So once again, Lou, I want to thank you so much. It's been an absolute pleasure chatting with you. We'll definitely be trying to promote your new album when it comes out. I can't wait for it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Keep us
I
updated
appreciate that.
on everything. And for
Will do.
those who want to find you, once again, please plug your stuff. Where can people find you?
You can find me on Instagram at Mad Seedling, on TikTok at Mad Seedling, and madseedling.com.
Thank you so much. And we'll have
Yeah.
all that in the show notes. Destiny, where can people find you?
The same place they find me every other time they look for me.
Somewhere trying to take over the world?
Yeah.
I
Oh, I'm
got that
so
vibe
glad
too.
you picked that up. Yeah.
Yeah.
You can find me on my Instagram is pretty personal. I don't really post anything about the show there. I just post memes. So if you want a good laugh, you can follow me on Instagram at I don't remember what my name is on there because I think I recently changed it. It might be Liquor Store Diva.
Yep.
You can follow me on TikTok at Liquor Store Diva, and you can follow me on Twitter at DMBC32. You could also look up my webcomic, Pudding and Flan, at its home base website thing, and on on Facebook. Yeah,
I think this is
and you
like the
can find me in
drunkest we've
that over
ever
at
been
level
on an
1.
episode.
I'm not
Yes,
even drunk,
I
man.
know.
had not a sip of alcohol.
neither have I. Dead sober, and yet it feels like I'm drunk.
It does. It does feel a little loopy.
I do feel a little loopy because of the Darren delay,
Mm.
which just
Yeah.
makes everything better.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And Matt, because I talked over Destiny, please also plug level 1 again. And where can people find you?
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter at burnout_Matt. You can find our YouTube channel at youtube.com/burnoutbrighter or on any of the podcast services around of your choosing. You can also find me on the PlayStation Drive every week over at Yumi and Capri, launches every Friday, where we talk all things PlayStation news and stuff. And of course, Destiny and I are also now part of Level 1 Gaming, where we'll have reviews and different articles and stuff going on over there. So check that out at lv1gaming.com.
Thank you so much, Matt. And you can
Beautiful.
find me at Twitter at burnout_Darren. That's our show.
And
Any
here.
final words? And here.
On YouTube.
Oh, and yeah,
Pamplemousse.
youtube.com/burnoutbrighter.
Yeah.
Last words? Last words? Last words?
Pamplemousse.
I think. What did you say? Puffelness?
Pamplemousse.
Pump. A pump.
That's a good
Aren't
one.
they a band?
They are.
Yeah.
No.
I
Yes,
think
they
so.
are. Yes, they
They
are.
are. They
I
are a
used to
band.
listen to them.
They are also.
They are a
great group.
band.
Yep.
Yes. So is a kumquat.
Yeah,
And
neither
that's
one
the
of those
end of our show.
We will see you all next week. Thanks for stopping by. Have a good night.
Bye.
Peace. Cheers.
Deuces.